Deep in the heart of a dense forest, where no human foot had stepped for many centuries, stood an old, half-ruined castle. This castle was known in the surrounding areas as the Castle of Forgotten Souls. Its grim walls, covered with moss and mold, seemed like silent witnesses to horrifying events that had taken place there many years ago. The castle was built in the mid-14th century by a powerful lord named Edmund Blackwood. Lord Blackwood was known for his cruelty and cold calculation. His subjects feared him, and few dared to cross the threshold of his domain. Rumors circulated that Blackwood was involved in dark arts and made deals with demons for eternal life and power. The legend claimed that in one of the castle's towers, hidden from prying eyes, there was a huge mirror that Lord Blackwood had brought from distant lands. This mirror was not an ordinary object of luxury, but an ancient artifact with a sinister power. It was said that a demon's soul was trapped within it, and whoever looked into this mirror would see their fate and all the horrors that awaited them in the future. No one knew if these tales were true, but people avoided the castle and stayed away from its misty hills. Many years passed, and the castle fell into oblivion. It was mentioned only in scary tales that were used to frighten children at night. However, in one of the small towns near the castle, there lived a young historian named James Woodhouse. James had been fascinated by history and ancient legends since childhood. He spent long hours studying old manuscripts and books, trying to unravel the mysteries of the past. One day, while researching in the town's library, James came across an ancient manuscript that mentioned the Castle of Forgotten Souls and a mirror with magical powers. The manuscript was written in an ancient language that James struggled to translate. The text spoke of a curse placed on the mirror and that anyone who attempted to possess it would be doomed to eternal suffering. James' interest was piqued, and he decided to embark on a journey to find the castle and discover if the manuscript's claims were true. He spent a long time preparing for the expedition, gathering all the necessary information and equipment. James understood that he was venturing into a dangerous journey, but his desire to uncover the mystery of the mirror was stronger than his fear. The path to the castle was not easy. James made his way through dense forests, crossed rivers, and climbed steep slopes. Finally, after several days, he reached the castle. A grim sight greeted him. The castle's walls were covered in cobwebs and ivy, and the massive gates were half-ruined, barely hanging on their rusty hinges. James slowly approached the gates and, with effort, opened them. Inside, the castle was even more terrifying than he had imagined. The corridors were filled with thick mist, and the air was heavy with the smell of dampness and decay. Every step echoed, and James felt as if someone was watching him. He continued further down the castle's corridors, trying to find the tower where, according to legend, the mirror was located. As he passed through the halls, James saw traces of former grandeur. Luxurious tapestries that once adorned the walls were now torn and decayed, and marble statues were shattered and covered in dust. However, none of this distracted him from his main goal. Finally, he reached a spiral staircase leading to one of the towers. His heart beat faster as he began to climb the creaky steps. At the top of the staircase, he found a massive door adorned with strange symbols and drawings. James realized that behind this door lay the mirror. With effort, he pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was dark and cold. In the center stood a huge mirror in a massive frame, covered with a black velvet cloth. James approached and slowly removed the cloth. Before him was the mirror, its surface gleaming despite the centuries that had passed since its creation. For a moment, James froze, feeling a strange power emanating from the mirror. Then, as if hypnotized, he took a step forward and looked into its depths. What he saw made his heart stop. In the mirror, he did not see his reflection but a scene of the castle engulfed in flames, with himself standing in the midst of this hell. Around him swirled shadows, whispering in an ancient language words of a curse. James felt his hands start to tremble, and his legs refused to move. He understood that the mirror was absorbing his soul, but he could not tear his gaze away. The shadows in the mirror became more distinct, and soon they began to emerge from its surface, surrounding James in reality. In a panic, he tried to break free, but the shadows gripped him tighter. With each passing second, James felt his body weaken, and his consciousness drifted into darkness. Suddenly, he heard a booming voice coming from the depths of the mirror. "You came to take what is mine, and now you will become part of this curse." In the last moment, James gathered all his strength and dashed for the exit. But the shadows were faster. They caught up with him, and the mirror shattered with a crash into tiny fragments that scattered across the room. Only a black void remained in its place, into which James was consumed. Many years have passed since then, and no one has heard of James Woodhouse again. The castle once again fell silent and forgotten, hiding its dark secrets from curious eyes. It is said that sometimes on moonlit nights one can hear the whisper of the wind coming from the depths of the forest and see the reflection of the mirror among the trees. But those who follow this reflection risk disappearing into the darkness forever, just like James.